All right, so we're here in the Intero office on Meridian in San Jose. Just want to make sure that we follow up with this buyer series. I know a lot of you have gone through your budgeting, gone through and met with a lender to find out exactly how much you qualify for. You've decided how much you might be able to put down based on which loans you qualify for. So that's already on the way forward. So the next step that I want to talk about is finding the home. So I think it's really important that everyone, as they're going to look for a home, obviously you're looking for maybe a certain place, but really we're looking at what price point are we looking at, and then within that price point, what are you looking for? How many bedrooms do you need? How many bathrooms do you need? What kind of space do you want to have in the area around your kitchen? Do you want it to be an open floor plan? Do you want it to be walk-in ready? These kind of questions help us determine where we can look in this market in Silicon Valley, because there are many neighborhoods and opportunities that are out there, but some people have a higher tolerance for pain in terms of, hey, I'm gonna get out, I know my uncle's a contractor, my cousin's a painter, I'm gonna get this done, I'll spend weekends making sure I get this house the way I want it. Other people, like my most recent buyers, they just wanted to have something they can move into and not have to worry about having to fix anything outside of the regular maintenance that a house needs. So I really want to sit down with all my clients, come in for an appointment after you've watched this video, so we can kind of walk through this step and show us how we can move forward with that next step of actually looking at a list of homes, looking at things that meet these requirements. All right, so give me a call. Please, again, watch these videos. It'll walk you through the various steps. So when we meet, we can talk about what houses we're gonna go see and what steps we're gonna take so that we can beat out those other buyers that are coming to the market. All right, so now we have found 3 to 4 homes that we really wanna go see on a weekend, maybe more. But we found our homes that we wanna look at that are open this weekend for an open house. So some of the things that I want us looking at, if it meets all the requirements that we talked about on our checklist, that's beautiful. Let's go through them one by one. But I want you to bring that checklist with you, and as we're going through this process of going to look at homes, see what does it match on the checklist that we talked about when we met for our meeting. So when we go again to these homes, we've already signed a buyer broker agreement. So I know that I am your agent and I represent you. I'm not representing anybody else in this endeavor of finding you a home. So again, when we think about this checklist, all I want you to do is just enjoy, go around, see each room, spend as much time as you need to, understanding that some homes will only be open for that open house that weekend. Other homes we may be able to go see during the week. So I'll plan that out for us. But really spend the time seeing, does it match what you have on your checklist? Is it what you open Google Maps, see where it is. As you stand there, see where parks are. Everything's there at your fingertips. Ask questions of the agent. Why are the sellers selling? What do they get, a vibe do they get from the neighborhood when they're doing their open house? Again, I would love to go to every open house with all my buyers, but the reality is sometimes you're available and I'm not. Sometimes I have team members that are doing their own open houses, and for our buyers, again, I think that's why we have open houses with agents there that can talk about the property, and then you can give us a call and we can consult on the next step, which is making an offer. So once you go and see your homes, you enjoy, you see your top 4 or 5 that you really wanted to look at, we can kind of come together with a strategy and saying which 2 or 3, or hey, which ones do we want to really take a closer look at? And at that point, what we'll do is what we call pulling the disclosures. So everything that seller has gotten from a building inspector, pest inspector, anything that we have from our homeowners associations or HOAs, all that information will be usually uploaded ahead of time in the process. Sometimes in Santa Clara County, they'll put something on the market and then those disclosures will come later on. In that case, we can always still write an offer contingent on seeing those documents. So again, I think it's really important that we go to those next steps, say, let's take a closer look, because hey, maybe the price is low because there's a foundation issue. That could be expensive. We'll call our foundation guy and say, hey, what do we need to do to get this fixed? Is it worth this price? Or what's our strategy for making an offer at this price, knowing that maybe it can be fixed, but it's gonna be very expensive to get it fixed. Or again, another one is the roof. We look at the roof and say, oh man, the roof needs to be replaced in a year. Well, our offer may be a little different based on that. And again, we may also, big component of this is that our team works together closely with those listing agents to find out the daily, how much interest are you getting on it? How many people came to your open house? If they'll tell us a number, what does the number need to be able to have a clean offer on this? Obviously, we're looking at all the surrounding properties that sold in the neighborhood, so nobody's getting bamboozled on price. The market usually speaks pretty clearly. If an agent is off on their adjustment, we'll be able to see right through that. So again, the next point is we'll go to pulling those disclosures, looking through those. That'll be part of our offer. So once you review, again, it could be up to 350 pages of documents. I would love to sit down with you and read through those if you really want to. We can go ahead and go through each form and really go down to the nitty-gritty of what this transaction is going to look like and what the information on the house and the property is. And so I really think next steps is you found a property you love, you have to go to pull those disclosures. We'll send them to you from the listing agent. Then we can go ahead and say, all right, I want to make an offer. Then we can talk about what does our price need to be after we've gathered all the information, we reviewed all the documents, and we're ready to make an offer. Then we'll sit down, we'll talk about price, where it needs to be. We'll talk about our strategy based on the market in that neighborhood. Then we'll go ahead and make the offer. Once we make the offer, there's one of two things that can happen. One, they accept the offer and we move forward in the transaction. Two is they counter us at a higher price or different terms. Maybe there's something that their seller needs, they need rent back, they didn't say that up front, they may ask for that. But those are the two outcomes that can happen. The third, don't even want to talk about it because most of the time, hopefully, we'll get a counter if the price wasn't exactly where it needed to be. But obviously they could, I've had agents, good or bad, not even get back to me after I've written an offer. So I have to go ahead and follow up, and so I let my client know, hey, this is what we missed it. They're in contract with somebody, they came in with a cash offer, 50 to 100,000 over, or whatever the case may be. So again, so we got that point where we found some homes all the way up to the offer. So next, once we're in contract, here's what you're gonna expect. So I'm gonna talk about that in my next video. All right, so now we've had our offer accepted, what next? So what to expect next is sometimes there's different forms that need to be signed, that the title insurance ends up saying, hey, we need this form signed based on your status or based on different things, whether your lender needs to send something to title or the title needs to send something to the lender. Sometimes that's just happening. So usually closing ends up happening about 30 days on average. Sometimes it go faster with a cash transaction. Sometimes it can go a little bit longer if the lender or somebody's dragging their feet a little bit, waiting for a better rate. But again, I think as a buyer, we want to make sure that transaction goes as smoothly as possible, everything up front like I already talked about. So as we look at this period of time where you're in contract or your sale is pending. So again, what we're looking at is the lender doing their due diligence. So what the lender's gonna do is they're gonna have their person come out and do an appraisal. So basically inspection of the property, make sure everything that was in the disclosures, or maybe they don't even look at the disclosures, really they're just looking at the house itself. Is the asset that they're gonna be lending on worth what the price you've made an offer is, right? That's generally what we get a loan contingency, if we're not sure if the lender is sure about the property. So we really want to have that appraisal period in there. Sometimes their appraisers are quick, some lenders appraisers are a little slower. So it's really important, again, we have that closing period of time that your lender needs and our title company needs to make sure everything is explored and done in the right way. So once the appraisal happens, they'll come back and get the approval from there. They'll let the title company know they're ready to move forward. So as the title company looks at everything, they'll put everything together, and then we'll come to the next step, which is signing for your home. So again, along the way, you're going to be signing documents. So we signed the offer. The offer got accepted, and then after acceptance, then we can go ahead and move towards closing the deal. Making sure every time your lender calls, you pick up or text them back, hey, this is the document you need, I'm gonna get that to you. Title, hey, you need this document signed, okay, I'm gonna get that to you. Have any questions, give our team a call. We're right here to support you through closing. Any questions, concerns, anything comes up, do not hesitate. Reach out to us. This is a period of time where sometimes the seller's a little unsure, buyers are unsure. It's just a time where you're kind of in limbo, right? You haven't made a payment, you don't own anything, but that moment is coming. So hang in there during the pending period while we're in escrow. And I don't like to say stuck in escrow, I say moving through escrow. So again, give me a call if you're stuck, questions, concerns, I'm right here for you. So here we are on closing day. We are either sitting in my office here on Meridian in San Jose, or we're sitting in your home where you live, before you move, or we're meeting at a neutral site. If you want to meet at a coffee shop or somewhere else, we can always get a mobile signer to come and sign off as we need it, a mobile notary. So a couple of things that are happening as we get on to closing day. So the funds will be transferred. So, you know, paying off any of the seller's mortgage, paying the loans off and the taxes, title insurance, real estate commissions, and providing proceeds to the seller. So again, that might be the point. Again, you've already made your down payment, your loan is funded. As it's funded, we're ready to go ahead and try to transfer over through escrow to the seller. Signing documents, these could include a list of deed of transfer, deed to the home, bill of sale, certificate of title, miscellaneous addenda if we made any changes or the ways that we wanted to sign off on this deal. There's things we wanted or stipulations we wanted, those are in there. Also any closing statement. So who paid for what is going to be listed out through escrow, and that's going to be listed so you know, okay, seller paid this, buyer paid this, moving forward through the transaction, this is what it looked like. Once all the paperwork is signed and the funds have been transferred, the keys for the home will be given to you as the buyer, and we can go again and celebrate that moment either at the house, I can meet you there, or we can meet at the office and celebrate here. But I love to meet my clients at the home so they can walk in and finally take ownership of the home and be proud and have a great moment. So again, we reached the end, the finish line, but actually that's not the very end. So a couple of things as we are closed and you have your keys, I'm gonna follow up with you about what next steps are. All right, so going through the process of figuring out what you want, what you can qualify for. You've gone and made an offer is accepted. It's the house of your dreams. It's the house that you really, really wanted. Now we're moving into closing. We've closed on the home. We've given you your keys. So that's not where the end happens for me as a realtor. So these are all the things that I feel that you should do as a person purchasing a home, taking title of your home, that people sometimes do and sometimes don't do if they're not already told to do so. So the first thing is, if we haven't talked about it already or you didn't think about it ahead of time, is that you should definitely get your home into a trust. Talk to an estate planner about what your needs are, but here in the Bay Area, average single family home is just about $1 million, north of that actually, but let's call it $1 million. So on a probate of $1 million, you're paying roughly up to 5% of the estate to have an attorney take it through that process. You're paying an administrator the same amount. So if a family member or the person who is the petitioner decides to do something like that, then you're also paying them another $30,000. So it could cost you up to $60,000 to go through probate in San Jose, and that's without litigation. That's just a smooth transaction going through the normal process. But you can avoid most of that by talking to a really good estate planner here locally in Santa Clara County that knows the local rules and follows the state regulations and everything. So that's number one, is make sure that you're funding your estate in a trust, so that again you're covered when it comes to the end of life planning. The other thing, if you have your estate in a trust, maybe you purchased it in a trust, the next thing is make sure your insurance is labeled also in a trust, so that however that property is taken title, it also is covered under the name of the trust via insurance, not in your own name. So that's really important. It came up lately, the California fires and people having it in a trust but not having their insurance in a trust. It was on their, on their policy with their auto and everything else in just their name. So those are two things, the estate planner and the trust. Also, as you go into taking title and you go into finding you have your home, it's beautiful, you do or don't need work, right? Sometimes you do or don't. Please call me. I'm your realtor for life. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here if you need a plumber, electrician, if you need a contractor, you want to open up some space or put in an ADU. I have people that I've been working with to build my network here locally. Another thing that if you're building an asset, you're building wealth, you're watching your wealth grow in your home and your equity, and you want to start doing some stuff with that equity, I also have great CPAs. I have some really awesome relocation specialists. So if you're like, I'd love to have an investment property in Mexico, or I'd love to have an investment property in Florida, please reach out to me. Again, the algorithms of Google are pretty good, but you never know what you're gonna get when you Google. You're pretty much getting for whoever paid the most to filter to the top. So when you call me your local expert, I can connect with other local experts in our network, and again, nationwide and worldwide with Intero Real Estate. So please, thank you for watching. I love taking you through this process. If you have any questions, call your best real estate agent right here, Tobias McLeod, 831-238-3236. I'm here for you.